Howdy folks, DaveMan here again, Rollman Revolution. Now, I struggled with what I really wanted to talk about this week. It's been kind of a roller coaster over the past few months. Everything is getting a little tighter, money is getting a little tighter, everything is being squeezed as much as it can be squeezed. And I'm sure most of the people who have found me are dealing with the same conclusions. It's getting to a point now where I don't know what this apparatus in Washington, D.C. expects of anyone, regardless of your category or class, party, or particular group that you like to put yourself into. I don't think it matters, because it's a worldwide problem. And what the worldwide problem I have discovered is psychopaths lead us and dazzle us with their bullshit, which we, for whatever reason, get hypnotized by, and then find a way to form groups so that we can hate other people who are outside the group that we have put ourselves in. You know, it's crazy because, you know, when I was growing up in the mid-'80s, early '90s, things were really kind of laid back. The feminist movement was, you know, slowly intertwined, but there still was chivalry. There was still men were men and women were women. And something happened from the time I got out of high school to the time, you know, I started, you know, getting into like upper management and the jobs I was getting. So I don't know. I don't remember all of this stuff in college. I remember when I went to the university where I lived, I could see a lot of the liberal ideology worked in. But this woke ridiculousness that has kind of infiltrated, and if you don't believe what it is I'm talking about, if you're a person who stumbles upon this video and you don't even know what the term woke is, it's not woke like, oh, an awakening like Buddha and all that. No, woke means that you think that you're in the know, but you're actually living in some false, ridiculous reality. Sorry, I live in Florida. It's hot as hell here, and yeah, outside recording this. But yes, this woke culture, and again, I'm not one of those people that you would consider a pop culture, you know, studier. I don't look into that nonsense. I'm not dazzled by it. I could give a shit less what's happening in Hollywood and who is getting the Grammy or whatever this year. Don't care. I really don't care. To me, I think that is a facade. It's only for people who like to follow that nonsense and be hypnotized by that ridiculousness. Music, in my opinion, today is shit compared to what it was 25, 35, 40 years ago. There was meaning behind it. But that's, again, also comedy. Comedy used to be a whole lot better. Today, it's getting a lot better now over the last, I don't know, 3-4 years, you know, it's gotten better. People are starting to wind up into that world. They're starting to get more brave and saying, you know, screw this. Because but what makes comedy great is there's no boundaries to it. What makes, you know, the world great, what makes America great is there's no boundaries to it. Once we started putting regulation and saying you can't say this, you can't say that, you can't say this. Oh, if you say this, you're this. If you have to do this, you're phobic this. Everybody's got all these groups, and everybody keeps changing the groups up, and everybody keeps redefining words that are already defined, and they keep trying to make me the moron and the one who came up with the idea that they're a Z or Zer, Zanga, Z or Zingo, Zingo, new pronoun, that person is the one that everybody agrees with. Do you realize that there's such a very small percentage of the world population that thinks any of this stuff is normal? So how is it that all major media, major newspaper publications, all of Hollywood, all of the major things are the ones pushing this? Did anybody ever think about this? Even your favorite movie star, whatever the heck yes, my movie star would never lie to me. No, of course they wouldn't. They're only getting paid millions and millions of dollars to do so. That's what I'm saying. You don't get to echelons in Hollywood, the music industry, any of them, until you know how to sidestep a few landmines, or you are subordinate to whatever it is the group that you belong to now tells you need to be subordinate to. So they tell you shouldn't be talking about this stuff. You either stop talking about it, or you're going to suffer the consequences. Again, I'm not here, but Kanye West is a good example of that. A person who said, look, I'm done with you. They said, oh, no, you're not. And then they try to make him look one way or another. And it's like, this happens all the time. And what I'm trying to say is the only way you can sell bullshit, like I was getting back to my original point, the only way you can sell bullshit to a population, especially when it's a small percentage of the people, pushing out this bullshit, is you have to have minions below that you pay a large amount of money to influence the population to do so. Because we don't want it coming from those old, ugly white men, as they call them, or old bankers, or old whatever the group is that you want to put the labeling on, this deep state, fourth branch of government, hidden families, whatever. There's something crazy going on, yes. But the problem is, I don't understand, there's more of us than there is them. But yet, we feel that we have to follow that in order to do what? To survive? Look, there's so much going on right now. And what's so great about the internet and what's so great about, this World Wide Web now is the vast amounts of information. And yes, you have to be very careful about the information that you absorb through this genre, because again, it's a television. Tell-a-vision. Okay, so there's always somebody out there trying to tell you what your eyes see, what your ears hear, what your nose smells, and tastes, all of it. Somebody's always trying to paint that picture for you. It's called the narrative, right? What I'm trying to tell you is don't listen to people like me, don't listen to any of your favorites out there. Yes, I'm not saying you shouldn't absorb and take advice and take information in, but it's then up to you to go out there and dig deep and dive deep yourself. Because again, the only way you're going to know for yourself really kind of what's going on behind the curve is if you go see it for yourself. Don't listen to them. Because again, they've been dressing up the world in so many dazzling ways for years. The American education system is garbage. Absolute garbage. The collegiate system is getting even worse. Because again, once you've introduced all this woke nonsense into it, you're not dealing in a reality anymore. We're not dealing in a world reality anymore. That's why there's so many young guys out there and gals. And look, I work with some of these people that are flocking to people like me who know the difference between what used to be and what it is now. Because they're even seeing that there's something that doesn't make sense about the world that they're living in. Because they're coming out of schools and they're going, wait a minute, we were told all this stuff about this and that and blah, 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 and Z or Zer, and you can do this and a guy can be this and a girl can be that. And it's like, no, they're saying that reality doesn't exist. And many of them, it was a hard pill for them to swallow to begin with. But the fact that you're jamming this down young children's minds when it's absolutely, what does psychology say about all this? What does the overall echelon of psychology say? Internationally, I'm not talking about the American one, because the American one's tainted. It seems like everything in the DSM now has all been tainted. Because you look at all of the things that used to be considered a medical condition, and they've now flipped it around and says, no, the person that looks at a homosexual in the wrong way, that's the person with the problem. Even though the biology doesn't make any sense. Now, I'm not here to argue any of that, because again, that's not what this is about. What I'm saying is that something happened to our society where we've totally perverted what used to be and slowly dripped in this nonsense, which has now become normalized. You have pornography in the school systems. You've got children or whatever it is watching drag queens and all sorts of different performances in some of the cities in your schools. And the boards and the people on the school board are okay with this. You have libraries with selective books in there that talk about things that children, in my opinion, have no business being exposed to. It's not something that you just show to children. Children are there to learn arithmetic, spelling, all of the basics, right? The basics, where I call the real basics. Because even the history, even some of the backgrounds about the worlds that we're talking about, I'm sorry, I think we got to stop lying to each other. The one problem I've always said about this realm, regardless of what you think this realm is, I'm not here to argue it. I have my own beliefs, and there's a group of people that I follow that have similar, okay? But regardless of what you believe this is, okay, you can't deny the fact that there is suffering going on everywhere, okay? But we know rightfully well that all of us can make it inherently worse on each other. So why do we do it? What if we could do this? What if we could stop, okay, the nonsense going on right now and start looking at each other as not the enemy, but the ones trying to fight the enemy? And that look, my neighbor is on the same team as me because you know what? That's an American citizen. And we have a lot of non-American citizens in this country right now stealing the wealth from you, stealing your services, stealing your culture, destroying buildings in some of our major cities. And it's the people that you supposedly elected that are going to Washington, D.C., that are allowing and funding this nonsense to continue. This is both Republicans and Democrats. So when you hear me talk about politics and stuff, know this, that I am not on one side camp or the other. I live my life right in the middle. Okay, I'm a little more conservative, I would say fiscally, than everything else, but I just live a little right of center. I'm a moderate, if anything. I'm not an ultra right winger. Okay? But I believe the only way this country's ever going to get back to what it was is to pull the nonsense that has been created through the Obama and this ridiculous Biden administration back. It may look like we're sounding ultra-conservative, but we're not. We're just trying to bring America back to the way it used to be, where you could go out and say something stupid and it was okay to it, but everybody would look at that individual and say, yeah, that's a racist, or that's an idiot, or that's a bigot. And we could all say that, but we would all recognize that. That's what I'm saying. If people say that, oh, white people are more racist. And look, if there's a white racist in my neighborhood, you point him out to me, because you know what? I will call that person out just as much as any other person would, because as a racist is a racist is a racist. But I keep saying that we throw in these labels around left and right about everybody in politics and in our local cultures, and I think it's just nonsense. We got to get rid of these freaking labels. These labels are what kills us, because you and I, like I've said multiple times before, cannot be thrown into any particular box. We all have very unique likenesses. We don't fit in one specific group or another. And sometimes we may blend between one group and another, depending upon how the facts and how the information is uncovered. Like I was saying before, there's so much about American history that's a lie, okay? There's a lot of really good documentaries out there, but there's a lot of good books too. And I think books are one of the big things that, if you noticed, are not being pushed as much anymore. Everything's online. Get this digital copy and all that. No, get a hard copy. And I'll tell you why. Because books, during the Hitler book burning, okay, but whatever history wants to tell you. I don't want to get into any specific things because there's so many different rabbit holes you can go down with this. But there's been an erasure of history. Okay? These world wars and a lot of the stuff happening inside the United States, these fires and the Chicago fire and the St. Louis fire and the fires and all these major cities around the 1800s. And they have us all convinced, and they've sold us this line, okay? And if you go look these things up on your own and you start to go around it, you're going to start to realize that America, for the way it's been discovered or the way that they told you all of this stuff happened. Okay. I guess, maybe, some of it, not all of it, but there's a lot of things that don't make any sense, okay? A lot of it has to do with what was here and who was here. Quite recently, that lived in America, because there are these buildings all over the United States. Jacksonville has a few of them, Cape Coral, Louisiana, St. Louis, all of Chicago. A lot of major cities that are near rivers or streams, Buffalo, New York, Philadelphia, Dallas, San Francisco. They're all over the United States. Seattle, Portland, any major city for the most part, a nexus that was grown out from that has a lot of these what they call old world buildings in them. And I've been on this big huge tear lately. I ran across an online page of a guy named, his name is My Lunch Break. Very interesting stuff. Again, like I said, everybody's got to do their own research. I always say about that, but the narratives that have been sold to us about so many things in the science realm, historical realm, the world wars, all of it. In my opinion, and this is just through years of looking at patterns, and this is exactly what I do, okay? It doesn't add up. And the reason why it doesn't add up is because there are too many roads that do not answer any of the questions sufficiently, okay? They don't add up based upon population. They don't add up based upon the way that we were told about how population growth is. When you compare charts to, what they said how many people were in that region at the time versus how many people supposedly died. And again, it gets really, really complicated. But something about the time, I want to say between the 1800s and present, something crazy happened all over the earth. I don't know what it was. Maybe, it was a flood of some type. Something crazy happened. But at the turn of the 19th century, whatever, 1800s, somewhere in that time from the United States, something crazy changed. I don't know what it was. And like I said, I'm not the history buff. I just started researching all of this kind of stuff myself. And it's getting harder and harder to find information. Like I was getting back to books. If you've got books and you have people that are producing books and those books have old information reference to them, if you can find an encyclopedia set, before 1952, 1948, get your handle on some of those, because there's some golden gems in there that have been erased out of the encyclopedia from that point. And they told you, it's because we have updated information. No, it's because they didn't want that information being exposed to the public, because then it wouldn't answer so many of their other bullshit stories that they put on from that point. See, a lot of things that happen. Look, I'm not shitting on anybody's, profession. I'm not. But let's say, for argument's sake, there was something wrong, okay, in mathematics or science. But everybody has been writing papers and more papers based upon that previous error. It's like, it kind of screws it for everybody, because like if this is wrong, then that means, this and this and this and this is wrong. That's why it's so important in a lot of these disciplines to be right? But it seems like in the world we present to the people, it's like in that world, let's say if you're in the science world, yes, those people, they agree and they have the in-all and all and the know-all of what's going on here. But what we present to the world, it's like we talk to people as if you're stupid and we're going to just give you the bullshit stuff because we don't want to tell you about really how this works. And you think about that. I mean, I often wonder, as I sit around thinking a lot as of late, how much better the human person would be if we didn't lie to each other, if we really gave everybody the truth and just presented it on a plate and say, take it or leave it. This is what's going on, whatever the case may be. And again, it can be as crazy as, look, we've been in contract with UFOs and aliens for 50 years, and we've been having agreements with them, and we had this thing that all of the parks, when kids go missing in all these parks and whatnot, we had an agreement with the Eisenhower administration, and that's been going on. Look, if that's what's been going on, then we need to put it all out on the table, all the good, the bad and the ugly, because I think it's about time that the American people and this world starts to participate in the progression of its direction. See, the problem with society, and you can read a lot of these books that talk about zero society, stage level 1 society. Americans and the world, we are a zero level society. We can't even agree on what a woman is in the United States anymore, let alone agree with our neighbors about how the world population and the world people should progress going forward. See, the problem with it is you have a small percentage of high level, quote unquote, rich people running and controlling everything. And they don't have any reality or touch relationship to the people that are doing most of the work for the world that we have created. That's the problem. You honestly think that any of these people have any relationship to you or have any understanding of what it is you're dealing with on a regular basis? Of course they don't. That's what I'm saying. There are two worlds here right now. There's the world that is being pulled over your eyes and presented to you like a drama. It's just presented. There's this, and then they bring in this person, and then they go, oh, that's the president guy here, and there's this other president guy here, and oh, this is other guy here, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. And it's all a clown show, and they're pulling things, and they're going a variety of different directions, and we're oohing and on. It's a lot of shiny toys over here, and a lot of shiny, and all of the real stuff, all of the signal, all of the good stuff, the inside baseball that they don't want you to see, what's happening behind the scenes, is happening. But while they're distracting you and having one group fight against this group and that group fight against this group, and we're arguing like irrational reality. You know, one thing that my mother used to always say is you can't argue with stupidity, because what it does is it just lowers you down to the person that you're arguing with. So if you're arguing a stupid point, like you know is stupid, why would you continue arguing with that individual? Because you're just going in this circle. It's like you're never going to get at it, because that person is coming from a reference of stupidity. No basis in reality. And that's the problem that I've been fighting with myself, with a lot of the people in this community, and with this woke culture, which I just don't get, because it's a, no doubt, something that has been planted in our society, in the school system, manipulated the minds of the young people, and now they're interacting with reality that's fighting back against it, and they can't figure out why other people don't understand what it is that they're coming from. Because again, the reality in the world that they have been presented in this woke ideology through the school system doesn't exist. It's not real. And once you are exposed to the real world, and now you have this blowback, this kickback. Now you see what's happening in TikTok when these people start to freak the hell out, and you hear these young women who are becoming school teachers, talking about what they're going to plan on doing in their school with their kids, and it's like, have we lost our minds, really? I mean, I thought the whole purpose of school is to train up the future generation, which is going to be leading us as we retire. It's like you're handing off the keys to the next generation. The whole idea is to hand it off better than you received it. That's what I've always been trained to do. That's what I've always been believed in. Deep down is that you should always, if somebody gives you something or gifts it to you, which is what the whole idea of the American dream was. Now, granted, it is probably bullshit on the greatest scale. I am sure of it. But I've said the only way we're ever going to discover really what we truly are is we all got to stop fighting amongst each other. Okay, it's an all or nothing incident. And I know I'm a big dreamer, but I think it can happen. I don't believe we're waiting for the Kali Yuga and the stars to align and the fucking thing. I don't believe in any of that. What I do believe, though, is that when conscious beings kind of get on the same freaking level playing field and they start to use the power that's inside them for a greater good, and they're all kind of like resonating together, things change overnight. That nonsense doesn't have a chance. If the American people and people in general really just start listening to each other and start realizing it's us versus them, that's nonsense. They don't really exist. Their power is purely given to them by us. These empty promises that have been given to you, sold you using black people, Hispanic people, the Democrat Party, and just the establishment in general, putting one group against another group, telling this group you're not worthy, and this person said this and that person said that, and oh, he's a Christian nationalist and that person's a racist. And it's like, for crying out loud, we have got to stop this. And this is coming out of the mainstream media. Okay, the mainstream media, I thought its job was to report news as best as it was, to keep their opinions out of it, so that it's just the facts as best we know it, as we've been able to ascertain them. And the better news agencies ascertain those facts better and get the storyline better. But now it's just a bullshit show. Who can put on the greatest performance and can act it out better than the other one? The ratings show. The deep state's intelligence service selling David Ignatius, giving the scripts to the Rachel Maddows, who then disseminate it down the line so that everybody else has to know their part in portraying whatever bullshit story they have to put out to the main world that week that pushes public opinion in the direction they want. Sound about right? Let me go back over that again. So basically what happens is the CIA, or whatever the intelligence agency is, working for this administration, the deep state, whatever the groups are that are working together to try to push America in a particular direction, writes a script out. It's then fed to the main characters that works hand in hand with the media, but also work for their intelligence service, who then disseminate that information, basically set the tone for the day. The Anderson Coopers, the Rachel Maddows, There's several other ones, but I'll leave it there for now. But then they disseminate it down. And then the other journalists then kind of put their little sweet, bring in their little experts, their intelligence officers, and then try to shift public opinion in a particular direction, confusing one group of listeners against another group of listeners. Everybody thinks they're in the know because their person or their gal or their guy is the one that told them the truth. What does the reality tell you? When you go out there, what does the reality, is Joe Biden really looking cognitively together? I mean, has he been since 2019? He's been for a very long time. But yet the media just came out and goes, well, oh my God, yeah, God. Mr. Potato Head Scarborough was like, you guys are going to have to look at that. Thank God it's June. It's mindless. It really is. It's exhausting because I know I could do a whole lot better than this shit. Because you know what? I'm not a self-righteous bastard who's looking out for my own self. My whole life has been dedicated to try to help other people find their way, right? But what do these people do? What has Joe Biden been doing? He's been grifting for years. Got $1 million home here, $1 million home here, $1 million home. Son's going bloop, 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 likes to party. Cocaine in the white. I mean, just think of the stories that have gone on in the last 3 years in this thing, okay? Think of how crappy the economy has gone from what it was 3 years ago. And they just say it was COVID and all this other. That's all bullshit. The lockdown should never have happened. But that's, again, my opinion. I don't want to get... My point in this whole thing is that this nonsense, this reality that we're living in, can get inherently worse. But it could all change if people really just said, you know what? I've had enough. I really have had enough this time. I'm done listening to the bullshit. Nobody's going to put me in a box. Nobody's going to tell me exactly what it is I believe. Nobody's going to tell me the rules and the regulations. Okay, this is what we're following. This is the general. This is what we're going to go by. I'm tired of the lawyers in Washington, D.C. That's the problem, I think, with this country. You have the legislative branch, which is mostly consisted of lawyers, it seems like, or people who are laws, okay, which is the judiciary system. In my opinion, that's a conflict of interest, because you've got people who carry out the law who are also writing the laws, okay? So I think that's how all this corruption and back alley bullcrap continues to keep happening, is because you have all of this jargon that nobody really can understand except for the people who speak that language, you know, talking back and forth to each other. I mean, if you look at Washington, D.C. as a whole, it's just covered with those leeches all around it. Law firm after 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 law firm. It's exhausting. That crap is the reason why we're having the problems we have. The Federal Reserve is another major Ponzi scheme which must go. It's so ridiculous that somebody, a private bank entity, can print notes out of thin air, and then I can't afford to pay it, but I'll get you. I'll get you. Who's going to get you? Who's going to get you? Yeah, the American people are going to get you. That's right. You pay for all of the money that they spend, and they just keep spending more and more and more of it. And they keep telling you, you know what, we got to raise the debt ceiling because if the government shuts down, oh no. How about this? Get all those dang illegals out. How about this? Stop spending all the money and sending it overseas. How about this? Cut the military-industrial complex and all those black ops projects that, you know, you keep sending all the money to NASA and fucking rockets here. Stop that. We can't afford it right now. Mother Hubbard's cupboard's empty. And how about we start putting American citizens first, start taking care of the people of this country? I'm surely damned. These people, I've always said, if you take care of the people within your charge, they will take care of you. But we've been shitting on the American people for the last 35, 45, 55 years, telling them to show up and show up hard and keep working for that American dream, which is never going to happen because you kept stealing it all and giving it to your friends. Well, we caught you. And I believe the way that we stop this is by throwing the labels away. There ain't no Democrat, there ain't no more Republican, there ain't no Libertarian. That stuff is ridiculous right now. It's whether you're for this nation or you're not. Are you going to put your family and the family of the people around you first? Or are you going to take care of the people overseas? You're going to take care of your buddies over in the gas and the energy sector. I mean, what are we doing? No. It's this nation. Well, get the hell out of my way. If you are a person right now who's leading that house, I suggest you get out of Dodge. Because, again, the damage that you have done is treasonous. And it's not me that you're worried about, but there's some crazy people out there. They're going to lose their mind over what it is you do, especially once we expose all of this next year in 2025. It's going to be good. But I just want people to start getting a grasp over really what they really know and what it is that they need to equip themselves with. I mean, walking through this world today, thinking that you know something when you really haven't done the work, and you know what I'm talking about. Look, I've done it too, where I think I know about all that sports stuff going on there, and some guys at work start talking about sports, and I try to chime in, and I say something really stupid because I really don't know what I'm talking about, right? I learned that pretty damn quick, that if I'm going to start talking about baseball and football, I should probably start watching it, right? That goes for politics too. See, there's too many people out there that have heard something, or they heard their guy or their gal say something one day, or watched a TikTok somewhere, and then they all of a sudden experts on everything and have an opinion. But most of the time your opinion comes from a collective, a group think that you're part of. I'm asking you, do you really know? And you ask yourself, the people that are talking to you or telling you this bullshit, do they really know? Because really it comes down to what you truly know, what the reality is. It doesn't matter what I believe and what you believe. It's what is true and so. Remember what I said at the top of this? I'm about getting things right. I don't care about the right part. I don't care about who's right. I just want to get it right. And if we're all doing that, the world changes tomorrow. It's not about the labels anymore. The labels are stupid. The only people that put people in labels, the only people that put labels on people, okay, are the ones that are trying to control them. That's it. So if somebody is using labeling to try to talk about other individuals, take that person and throw them out, because they're part of the problem. As long as this conversation about race keeps going out, it's never going to end. I don't look at people that way. A majority of the people in this world don't look at people that way. I'm sick and tired of it being this center issue. It's not. I'm not oppressing anybody, and nobody else is oppressing me. But I can tell you what, this world is completely upside down, and it's not because of white people, black people, Hispanic people. It's because of American citizens getting screwed over by the people who said they had their back. It doesn't matter the label, like I told you before. If those individuals have been voting in the wrong manner and giving this money away and throwing the stuff out while you've been suffering, they need to go. You need to replace them. You could be the next person to replace them. And again, this is all this comes down to. People who love their family, love their country, love the state, love the city that they're in, run for office. You are probably going to know how to lead that area better than anybody. They don't want you getting involved. They don't want you knowing what's going on, and they don't want you talking to me or you talking to your neighbors, because the more you start to realize that the people around you aren't against you, we're on the same team, all going through the same suffering together, you start to realize it's not you and me that are supposed to be against each other. It's actually us versus those bastards. We need to redirect. Over these next 4 months, we need to redirect our focus for what we think we know versus what we truly know. Start getting educated about the things we really need to learn. But then after that, start talking to the people around us. Maybe somebody else around us may know something more than we do. And when you start talking about each other, about the problems that you're facing and the problems I'm facing, well, then we can understand a little bit more about each other. But there's so much assuming going on. And I'm telling everybody, I'm not against anyone. And I'm pretty sure most people out there are too goddamn busy to be against anybody else as well. They're working their ass off, trying to make ends meet. How about this? How about in the next 4 months, we start to realize the bullshit that they have been selling us, the ridiculousness of this administration. I don't care if you voted for Joe Biden or not. I don't really give a shit who, because I don't look at a person, and I don't believe you should identify by the person you voted for in the last election, because we all make mistakes and we all vote based upon the information that we're given at the time. Okay, obviously so many other people, had they known what they know now, would not have made the decision. So that's it. Conversation's over. I don't care about what anybody voted for. It's not about that anymore. It's about what you think and what you're going to do in this moment that matters. That's done. We ain't dealing with that no more. It's over. Now it's fight moving forward. We fight off our front foot. That's how this works. So all I'm asking people to do is to consider and look what's going on out there. Look at the landscape. Look exactly what has been presented to you. Democrats, look at what they have done to you. They have presented you that Joe Biden was the smartest guy, he's a great guy, he's had it all together since 2019. And they've been hiding the fact that this man has had dementia for a very long time. They have lied to you. The question you have to ask yourself is, who's really running everything? That's not how democracy works. That's not how the system works. They installed somebody so they could do whatever they wanted to behind the scenes. And look at the way the country is right now. We got 2 wars, a wide open southern border. The economy's out of control. And they want 4 more years? Are you kidding me? Now, we got to come together. It's not about party anymore. It's not about labels. It's about who's got the track record of putting this nation first. In my opinion, there is only one person right now, and that's Donald J. Trump. I know you may not like him. I know you may say, oh, he's just as bad as the rest of them. His track record says otherwise, okay? Maybe he's not the guy you want to have a cocktail with. I don't give a shit. I'm not asking anybody to marry this person. I'm asking people to just look at the landscape, okay? And in between now and the next 4 years, then you need to find the master Olympian of all time, because now we're all paying attention, right? So if this is not the person that you want, but I guarantee you this is a person that can get us definitely where we need to be. So Donald J. Trump is the only answer in my opinion. 4 months, we all need to start talking to each other. We need to all start looking at the realities of what's going on behind the scenes. We also need to start informing ourselves about the things we think we know and start really knowing those things that we're having conversations about, so that we don't sound like a bunch of morons or trying to have a stupid conversation about something that we absolutely have no idea what we are talking about. It's really frustrating. You are smart. You are smarter than they're giving you credit for. And I'm sick and tired. I said it before, and I'll say it again. I am sick and tired of the way that this mainstream talks to people, regardless of which party you're in. Just the way that they talk to people as if you are so stupid. Oh, we can sell them all this bullshit, and they're gonna believe it. You know why? We'll just throw a little race in there. We'll throw a little bit of angle of it, because they already don't like Donald Trump, because we told them how much of a mean old meanie he is and how many nasty things he said about women. So we're just gonna, bait them. We're gonna keep baiting them, and that's exactly what they do. And again, for a person who doesn't analyze this and watch this on a regular basis, you can see how people easily get triggered. And once you understand how people are easily triggered, then you just keep pushing those buttons. But what I'm saying is it's not real. The reality behind all that is not real. It's all designed to divide everybody and get people to hate one group, especially people who, if you are a person who likes Donald Trump, well, we hate everybody who's associated with that. It's mindless today. You're a human, free-thinking individual, and you are letting other people tell you what to think, tell you what to see, tell you what to do. I thought you were free. I thought you were a free person. Guess you have to be told everything. It's time to wake up. It's time to fight back. It's time to recognize who you are and who we are. Who we always were. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of living like a schlemiel. I'm tired of living like a day to day when I've worked so hard. No, it's not the way it was supposed to be, and it's not the way it's going to be. All right, I hope to see you all out there. I'm sorry, I'm going back and forth this last couple of weeks. It's been, I don't know, something in the weather or whatnot. Just really, Florida's been really, really bad. It's so hot. I'm sweating right now, but I wanted to get back in touch with everybody and just tell you how, we're still fighting out there. One day at a time. Every day is a challenge, but that challenge is going to make you stronger. You got to keep fighting going forward. We got this. We got to stick together. We got to start talking again. That's it. We do that. I'm telling you, overnight, the world changes, because now we're in charge. Take care, my friends. I'll talk with you soon. Peace.